Hello everyone and welcome to another VOD review. We're only going to get one done for this week as I am heading off to a wedding. I will not be around for this week's watch point and I have a flight to catch. So we're only going to do this one, and I think this was the most interesting match, I guess, relative to the meta, where everyone stands, and it's the Shanghai Dragons taking on the Guangzhou Charge. So the Dragons having an 0-2 weekend and starting off quite poorly. Having a pretty weird look on the meta. Fled has come into play a lot, but hasn't been having a lot of success. While the Guangzhou Charge, Choice of One's been playing very well. They're playing in a style in which like Piggy plays the Zarya as the new acquisition. He bubbles a lot of Choice of One, they nano him, etc, etc. And obviously Jimmy's fucking in the corner. So let's just get into it. We're just going to break this one down, talk about it as it goes on. It should be a pretty loose VOD review. Might be talking a lot about the meta. Let's go. Shanghai is the best. Don't believe the results from this game. Fake news. What the fuck? Dude, don't believe Avril's lies. He's baiting you into a false sense of security. I can absolutely see Shanghai turning it around when they start to get a better grasp from the meta. I talked about this in my weekly recap, but I would actually like to see the Shanghai Dragons kind of play a very similar style to what the Guangzhou Charge are playing, right? You can have Lip play that Sojin. You can have Who Are You play the Genji, and then just have Void play the Zarya, and they would bubble. I think they could definitely do that on a lot of maps, and that would incentive. They could play like Lucio Ana, which I think is more up their wheelhouse, play less Bebe. So I definitely think there is ways in which the Shanghai can turn this around. Obviously, they've already qualified for the end of season playoffs, so it doesn't matter that much. There's no tournament at the end of this. Maybe they're sandbagging after all this, and Avril was right. But I think they're going to want to improve. There is an important seeding line that they are playing for. Like, I talked about this in the weekly recap, but they are currently the 5th seed. If you combine the standings, they're the 5th seed in the world. And you want to be top 4 seeds going into the playoffs, because then you will automatically get a bye in the first round. So Shanghai is kind of dancing around that cusp. And they need to find a way to get some wins to at least help. I don't know if they care about that. They should care about that. But only time will tell. So we're getting a rush from Shanghai off the rip, which I don't love. Like, I don't think rush is that good in this meta right now, especially with Sombra being really strong. I think there's just way too many ways to navigate around the Mei. Obviously on like maps, like probably they're going to play it on Village on Nepal. There's like minor times that happen, but even then we've seen Orisa rush be potentially better than the Reinhardt rush.
Always mind your sightlines. This is our objective now.
When they started playing Lucio Moira, dude, they need to just stop playing Lucio Moira. I don't know what it is. I think, was it Shock who did the same thing? When they keep playing Lucio Moira, I just don't get it. Especially in a Sombra meta. Like, Sombra is the biggest counter to Moira, because you can literally just EMP or like manual hack her coalescence every time she does it. If she doesn't have that, she doesn't offer that much more than other heroes. LA Valiant are the best team in APAC. You can't. Dude, I'm convinced Avril's just coming here to just spew the most crazy shit to see who he's gonna bait with it. You can't get me. I think the Valiant look good in this meta, but the best in APAC, dude, Seoul Dynasty would like a word. I think they could easily be 3rd or 4th in the East, I think. They're definitely better than the Spark. The Spark looked tragic. Okay, I don't know what Fate was thinking with that pin. I guess they're just trying to stall the point at this point. Charge have got to stop letting this flip happen. You know, they've been winning most of this round, but they're losing in percentage. Wait, when could you charge rail off mail? Did I just learn something? You've always been able to do it. Obviously, the percentage is much lower than it used to be, but I think you've always been able to do it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, oh god. Oh, that was a really good shadow by Fate. Oh. Piggy just took. Oh, Jimmy? It's always Winnie when it's always winnable when Jimmy's on the server. Oh god, that was a pretty bad rail.
It's about to get real.
I thought they were nerfing Sojin to where they could only get charge from players. No, you can still get charge off of things. It's just 50% less. So you don't get much charge off of shields or any like static thing anymore. Is the hour replay viewer available on release? I do not believe so. I don't think the replay viewer will be available this year. Hopefully next year, for the next Overwatch League season, it will be available. It's still a little clunky, and I don't think there's a lot of priority going into fixing it. So, oh, they're getting a beat engage. Let's go back and have a look at this. Wait, 1 sec, actually. We're going to be at 20 seconds as well. How do they beat engage here? Oh, Flutter almost got. Next our season, Kobe. Sure, hope there's a season next year. So Choice of One and Xerneas go for a duo beat. I guess they force out beat and overclock from that. But it wasn't a great dive, but it's gonna work. I just hate the rush. Like, Fade has just spent this entire time running around, just getting kited by everybody. Because they're playing the Lucio with Piggy, like, it feels like they just can't get on top of anyone, and Jimmy and Choice of One are just doing whatever they want. Why did people care that much when Junker Queen was a must pick for a stage, but didn't care much when Sojourn was one? Because Sojourn was a must pick, but she didn't define what everyone else had to play as because she was strong, right? You could still play other tanks, other supports when Sojourn was strong. The problem with Junker Queen was you had to play Junker Queen, and to play Junker Queen, you had to play Lucio Brig, you had to play these other things around her, right, to get value. So she defined a meta, while Sojourn, when she's strong, didn't define the meta. She was just a kind of a must pick for the DPS. Is YouTube going to pay up again? And that's a big question going into next year that no one's really talking about at this point. And it's probably fair so, of, are we going to be on YouTube again? It'll be really good for the Overwatch League if we weren't only on YouTube. If we could go back to Twitch, it would be enormous. Obviously, I can speak from no business experience when I say I think it would be good even if Twitch didn't even pay us to be on the league, but I'm sure Blizzard executives would disagree. Because I think just having the extra viewership and all that kind of stuff on top of that would be beneficial, but yeah. As I say this about a VOD review going up on YouTube, YouTube is a better product than Twitch, 100% for live and VOD content, 100%. The biggest issue is they do not have as big of a live audience viewership, and their discoverability is hot garbage for live channels. Like, it is so hard to find that the Overwatch League is happening and that it is live unless you are actively looking for it. And even then it can be difficult. And that's the one big issue that I think Overwatch League is having, and why our viewership is so low, is people, like, there is a crazy number of people who I know who said, oh yeah, I used to watch it on Twitch and then it went to YouTube, so I just like stopped tuning in because it wasn't just there when I was browsing Twitter, right? Like Twitch. I was browsing Twitch and then, oh, I saw it was online, so I would watch. But now that doesn't really happen, so it's hard for people to get into it in a lot of ways. Yeah, at least when they were on Twitch, they were on the front page, or people would be following and that kind of stuff. That people are going onto Twitch to watch live VOD content, while people aren't doing the same thing for YouTube. They should go the Valorant route instead, allowing co-stream and reach so many more people. Yeah, let's see how co-streaming goes for Valorant in the future. As much as co-streaming is very good and a way to promote your esport and get more eyes onto it, the problem with co-streaming is that the company, like, they are not benefiting off of those numbers of the co-stream, right? You can't always sell that as to sponsors of, this is the viewership we're getting. You're not getting as much ad revenue. You're not getting as much, all these kind of things, right? So co-streaming is obviously good for the viewer, but not as good for the company that is allowing it to co-stream, right? I'm curious to see what the Riot is going to do with their co-streaming in the future, because I think there's a good happy medium in there somewhere, but we'll see. I'm subscribed to Al on YouTube, watch all the time, search for it all the time, and even when a match is live, it's not recommended to me, and it's hard to find. Exactly, right? I have the same issue. So I think YouTube should have a separate browser for live instead. I think if they want to beat Twitch eventually, then yes, but there's obviously a reason that we don't see for why they don't do that, right? Strange is always on my front page when it's live. I don't have that as well. Like, I wonder if it's like a thing of like, if you browse a lot of other stuff, it doesn't always push it to you. Because like, I watch a lot of other stuff on YouTube, including Overwatch League.
5, 4, 3,
All right, so are they gonna play Rush on this round? It doesn't look like it.
capture the objective.
Is it just me or did Fate feed his ass off in this series? Honestly, Fate Winston has been struggling a lot as of late. He had the same issue in, it was Kickoff Clash, right, which they played, and Fate Winston really struggled to, like, match up with, you know, people like Smurf and stuff like that. I don't know if it's the way that the Shanghai Dragons play, or if, they, like, Fate is a very, like, selfless main tank when he plays. But yeah, he definitely gets punished a lot. Matchup isn't good. Yeah, and that's also a big point that Albert's bringing up. It's not a good matchup for Fate, right? Like, he's playing the Winston against the Xayah Reaper. He's just going to get murdered, right? His job is to really create space, but then just stay alive, because he's just going to get got. And that's why, honestly, a lot of people in the West aren't playing Winston anymore, because of this. It's just so easy to die. Like, especially with how much more Sombra is played in the West. It's just so easy to get hacked and died. Or against double flex support. The West plays a lot more double flex support. When you have a Discord orb on me, when you have that Ana who can sleep you, nade you, it's just so easy to die on the Winston. You fucking bastards, this ain't Overwatch 2. Well, technically, not true. This is Overwatch 2, so get rolled. But yeah, they did drop the Overwatch 1 category. They combine the Twitch categories. Yeah, they essentially put them together. You don't want two categories when the game releases. I didn't think they would do it this early, but hey, here we are. Maybe just make sure it's tested and it's ready. Do you think double flex will beat out this comps? Yes. I don't think Lucio is good in this meta. I can see the Lucio being good with the Xayah, but I think the way that the West is playing with like the Ana Zen Diva Sombra, I think is a better comp than the one that the Shanghai Dragons are playing with the Sojourn. I think these Sojourn comps, you are too dependent on your hit scan player just going fucking crazy. Oh yeah, and actually not true. That Avril brings up a good point. On control, that is flipped. I think playing Lucio on control is important. So I'm more talking about maps in which, like, you know, hybrid, every other map type, even push, I think you don't need a Lucio. But I think on control, getting map positioning is very important. Choice of one. Oh, he gets it. Custa, I have merged my console account. I don't know anything about the merging. Sorry, I'm probably not the person to speak to about that. Watching Xayah Reaper comp is boring. Yeah, I like it from time to time, but I genuinely don't think you can play this comp everywhere. And I'm curious to see if Dallas gets challenged by someone. I think Dallas plays Gladiators? Am I right? No, maybe not the Gladiators. Who does Dallas plays someone difficult soon, right? I'm curious. I want to see if Dallas gets challenged in this meta. Because kind of how it happened in the Kickoff Clash, where the Xayah Reaper comp works against most teams because they just don't know how to deal with it. But when push came to shove, it was not the best comp. Oh, there's Houston. Yeah, right. It'll be interesting because I think Houston looked good. I'm curious to see how Dante Diva is going to do against Doha Sombra. You know what I mean? Like, I think Doha, if they just look into how that Houston Outlaws is going to play and be like, Dante's going to play aggressive on the Diva, just hack him whenever he tries to go in. Oh, they play Atlanta as well. That's an interesting one. Can London challenge them? London didn't look great this week. As much as they went 2-0, they didn't play great. They played... Who did they play? They played Paris, New York, Paris, Vancouver. They didn't play very good teams. Dante making a full swap to tank now, huh? We'll never see him on DPS again. Well, funnily enough, I actually asked him that question. Oh. I actually asked him that question in an interview I did with him. I'm like, are you planning on making the swap to DPS? And he gave a pretty good PR answer. It's like, I'm doing whatever I need for my team asks of me. I think it would be in his best interest to switch to tank. But there is a big learning curve of like Wrecking Ball and Winston. But Dante's a very good tank. And I think he fits his playstyle very well of like being playmaking. He wants to play DPS 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And like at the end of the day, it comes down to what he wants to do. If he wants to play DPS, he will play DPS eventually. And I'm sure next year, when they're talking with the Houston Outlaws, he will be like, hey, if I don't have a DPS spot, maybe I go to a different team. Because I think, oh, nice blade by Choice One. I think it'll really come down to 5K. it'll really come down to what happens with Pelican and the Houston Outlaws next year. Obviously, Pelican's been talking to Piggy a lot on Twitter, publicly being like, hey, I'll meet you there, wherever you end up. Dude. Oh, Faye got there. But we don't know the reality of that. Oh, that's a good hack. Oh, good beat. Pelican going to Shanghai. Pelican to Shanghai would be nuts, actually. Replace Fleta. They have the money to do it as well. Like, I genuinely think you could just drop Fleta and pick up Pelican. I could absolutely see them doing that trade. Victory. And then, wait, and then you send Piggy to Shanghai as well? To replace Void? I don't know if that's particularly an upgrade, but it could be okay. But yeah, because Void's planning on retiring, right? Is Fleta considered bad? Fleta has not had a good season. And if you're Shanghai, I think if you're Shanghai, you look towards getting a better... Like, if they're still trying to win a championship, I honestly think they need to change their roster up a lot. Like, if they want to go back to a championship, if they can add, like, a Piggy and a Pelican, and then I think they need to get another flex support who is just better. Like, they need to get a better flex support that isn't Bebe, in my opinion, and I think this team gets really strong. But Void is a top 5 tank this season? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not discrediting Void, but Void has said that this is going to be his last season. Like, he's said this. So unless things change or he's just fucking with us, Void has said that he's planning on retiring after this year.
Hello.
They have a better flex support, Izayaki. Yeah, no. I'm talking about a third one. Like, I think if you have Lee Jae on Izayaki and a better flex support to, like, round out their roster, I think that would be better for them. Because Bebe's just not cutting the mustard. And obviously they haven't been utilizing that. Well, where are you going, Lee Jae Gon? Get Molly back? Yeah, I think losing Molly was the thing. But it's hard to find a really good flex support who wants to play second fiddle to Izayaki. Is it pretty much confirmed he's saying to Shock? It's likely he's saying to Shock because Shock gets first dibs at any O2 Blast players. Oh, nice sleep. Because they are their contenders roster. So, oh, actually, there's a. Let me update the record, by the way. Charge 1. Proper he saying duo. Holy. Is he saying? What's he saying's hit scan like? Is he like the hit? Would he like he would come in and be the hit scan? Or would they try and move? Yeah, like he's saying that's sort of what I'm thinking of. Like, could he saying come in and be the hit scan, or would they want to move proper to hit scan in that position? Because like, as far as I'm aware, like from what I've seen, he's saying and proper have a very similar hero pool, right? But proper we know can play hit scan, but then like I don't want to see proper go play hit scan. It'd kind of feel like Leave playing hit scan in a lot of ways. If it's like he can play it, it's good, but it's not what I want to see him play. I would rather see him on the other heroes, right? And I'm worried that like proper just won't be as dominant on hit scan in comparison to what he is at. Proper's a better hit scan than Leave, but okay. But the question is proper a better hit scan than Lip? Or is proper a better hit scan or an equivalent hit scan to fucking, you know, all the best ones that we have in the game? Like Happy, etc. Why is that on the left? I've just moved it now. This dude on O2 Blast called Prophet is really good, but fuck me, he needs to change his name. Hey man, if you want to join the Shock, we're gonna have to have a conversation about this. I remember seeing this clip. Look at this. Lip, this is my problem. Okay, actually, this is my problem with the comp that Shanghai plays. Because Spark tried to do the same thing with Shy, and it feels like they just put all their resources into the fucking Sojin basket and then just hope he pops off. Which, you know, when you have Lip, it works. You know, like, and you get it sometimes, but I think it's just too inconsistent in comparison to playing Lip on that Sombra and, like, playing a composition that's more well-rounded towards the rest of the players. I think he'd be better than Killer. Yeah, but it's, I don't know. As I said, maybe I just don't want Prophet to go over to hit scan and like, so we don't see his Tracer or Genji anymore, right? Do you think NA teams will overperform East teams due to home advantage crowd? No. I think if you've ever been to an Overwatch event, there is going to, especially in LA, there isn't going to be a home crowd. Like, there won't be a, like, it's not like we're in Dallas or anything. Like, LA, I don't even think has a crazy amount of Gladiators fans. Like, I think it'll be pretty standard across the board of everyone cheering for everyone. The only limitation would be the travel requirements, but I think the team should hopefully be able to travel early so that they don't have to deal with jet lag, and they should hopefully get more effective practice and scrims in NA than they would have been able to get in the East. Surely there won't be a new COVID variant anymore. Dude, the world's not going to shut down ever again. Like, I don't, unless like a new variant came out and just fucking ruined everything and like the death rate was stupidly high. COVID, I don't think we'll ever shut down for COVID again. Most people should be vaccinated. It feels like it's somewhat under control. You know, obviously not perfect in certain parts of the country, but yeah. Well, EJ gun gets got. I'm surprised that China eased the borders. Yeah, it's hard to really know. Like from what I've heard, that I'm not going to talk about the China economy like is like collapsing as we speak. So, but as I said, I'm no fucking economist, and let's just talk about the game. That is a deep dive right there. So the nano lip again, like I just don't really like the nano Sojin setup. We've seen it work somewhat, but like I just don't think it offers enough. Is Countdown Cup going to be NA versus NA? No, there is no tournament for Countdown Cup, and that's sort of why like this stage is kind of not really being as regarded as high. Oh, Fate almost went off the edge. Is not really being as regarded as highly as some other ones because there is no tournament. So the only thing that people are really playing for is the play-in. So if you're a team like the Shanghai Dragons or the Shock and you're struggling the stage, it doesn't really matter. Like if these teams have already locked in their spots to the playoffs, and the meta in the playoffs is going to be the Kuriko one, which could be just drastically different at this point. Like if Kuriko's meta, if she comes in and she's really strong and she's meta, it's going to completely change the way the game is played. Let's go, Jimmy. All right. Dallasville wins. Shock should just rest proper and give up first seed. No, like proper doesn't need rest. I don't know. Like, does anyone? What's the thing? Oh, Jimmy is very out of position, but at work. What's the thing with Proper's eye that I've been hearing about? I haven't read too much about it, but like, is his eye like, or is that just like a rumor that his eye's fucked a little bit? Is there like much details on that, or is it just speculation right now? Said on Shock Discord, yeah, so it's like, but that's not like a great, like, we don't understand. You posted a picture, but the exact meaning or the issue is unclear. Yeah, there's a tweet somewhere, right? But like, as I said, I don't want to speak to it because, oh, wow. Because I don't think we don't have a lot of information. Like, is it a big issue, or is it just like, fucking dude had pink eye, or something like that? Is the new skate replacing a wrist injury after too many teams with a wrist injury excuse? Yeah, like, I can say one thing for certainty, and this is why I always regard Proper as my MVP. Even with the San Francisco Shock struggling in this stage, Proper still be fucking on the Tracer. He still do be fucking. It's definitely not Proper's problem. Like, Proper's not showing up is not the issue with the Shock right now. Proper simp? I am. Through and true, I am a Proper simp. I don't even try and hide at this point, but like that's just my opinion of like how good I think Proper is. And I don't know, maybe I'm off the goop and I'm overemphasizing it, but I genuinely think every time I watch Proper play, he is the best player in the server almost every single time he's played. There's only been a few matches where I can remember and be like he hasn't shown up, and they've usually been in a like when he's played against the best teams.
Score 0-3. Switching sides. Initiate.
He's like Leave last year, and that's why I voted for Leave. It was the exact same thing of Leave did incredible things with the Chengdu Hunters and pulled that team to a place that I don't think they deserve to be. And honestly, I think you can apply that to this year. I think if the San Francisco Shock did not have Proper and they had just like a good flex DPS player, like let's say, like let's imagine a world in which they still had like Nero, for example, right? Who's like a solid flex DPS player. Like I think the Shock would be drastically worse. Or like a Yaki or something like that, right? Like someone who doesn't have just like the raw firepower. I would love to see that timeline of like, I think they need someone who has Proper's level of playmaking ability. Smurf is more valuable for Soul. See, I don't know if I agree with that. I think Smurf is very valuable for Soul and he's definitely in the conversation, but I think Smurf has an incredible team around him. Which is sort of the difference. Like he has Prophet standing next to him. He has Fitz, one of the most dominant, like that is like one of the best DPS lineups in the game. And I think you can make that argument for like Proper has like Finn Violet behind him, and like with the support lineup. But yeah. Oh, Jimmy just gets fucking rolled. Is that a boot by Zonies to get him up high ground? I think Nero's been highly overrated for years now. I don't agree with that. I think Nero's pretty well rated. Oh, that was a good boot to get the lead taken off. I think he's been pretty well rated. I think he's a very solid DPS player who deserves to be in the league and deserves playtime. But I don't think he's like... he hasn't put up superstar level of performances like consistently, whichever team he's been on. I also think he's been kind of fucked by the teams he's gone on to. Yeah, like, Nero was the best player in the Shock last year. I agree with that as well. Like, I think he was the best, most consistent player on the Shock last year. Fitz in the East is actually an average hit scan, though. Fitz is the second best hit scan. Here's the thing. I think people underrate Fitz because he doesn't go as crazy as Lip, as Shy, and that kind of stuff. But Lip is just, he's a fucking Toyota Corolla, you know? That shit's fucking dependable, runs a good mileage per gallon, you know, he just fucking does the job, you know? He's just going, and he'll always do it for you, you know? He's never feeding, he's just lovely to have. I would love to play with Fitz. He seems like just a great teammate to have. And you know, that's what you need. You need a Fitz player who complements Prophet and Smurf. Everyone can't be a superstar player when you have a roster. You need role players like Fitz who just comes in, does his job, does a little bit of fucking, and then pieces out.
Going somewhere?
There are only 7 teams though, so it's worse than the thing. Oh, if you're only considering the East. I'm not just considering the East, I'm considering the West. You guys want my hot take? You want my hot take? I think that hitscan players in the West are massively overrated compared to hitscan players in the East. And I don't think it's particularly close as well. Like, I think way too many people put way too much weight on some of the West players that, and like, oh, like, this player is the best. I'm not gonna name names of who I'm thinking about and who I'm talking about, but I think people just dramatically overemphasize how much better they are because they're sort of playing against themselves. And you guys are bringing up the person I'm thinking up pretty quickly right now. Like, you guys are already talking about the player I was thinking of, and I think you guys are, he's just getting it happens to a lot of them, right, where it like feels like they clear. And I think people see the highlight clips and they see those big moments, but they don't think about the consistency of them overall. And I think this is actually, funny fact, I actually think this is a big issue that Jimmy has. We love to talk about Jimmy. Jimmy fucks, he's having an incredible season, but Jimmy is inconsistent. Jimmy has some crazy flashy plays, but he is nowhere near close to Fitz or Lip, in my opinion. His biggest issue is that, yeah, we can see him get like 4 or 5, 3 or 4 Ks in a series, but his big problem is that he doesn't open things up as much, and I think he's a chaotic player to have. Jimmy straight up was shit last year. Yeah, it wasn't great. Oh my god, Izyaku with the slow walkout into Jimmy's crosshairs. Oh, is they gonna die for that still? Oh, okay. Jimmy is more consistent than your hair. Wait, what? Will we see a Predator this year? Apparently, like, from what we've seen of Predator and Jimmy and contenders, Jimmy cleared a Predator, which was surprising to me. Like, a Predator, you know, a Predator is giving me big League vibes, you know? I don't know about you guys, I'm getting big League vibes from a Predator, of like this mythological creature that we hype up so much who's just never gonna play. I hope I am wrong about that, but I'm getting those vibes already. I'd put Happy, Sparker, and Merit over Kai this season. I think Sparker is getting overrated a little bit. He's had some crazy games, but I think we gotta stem the expectation of that. But I think they're all good shouts. I think those are the players that have been the best in the West.
Railgun powered and ready to fire. Going somewhere?
No, Aspire's been very good as well. Aspire's had some, he's as I said, like, he's been good, right? And I think all of those players, like, you put them in a thing, they're all good players. I just think the East clears, is my point. Like, I think Shy, MN3, Lip, Fitz, clear, right? Like, I think all of those players clear the most of the West players, right? Oh my, Jimmy, no, come on. Jimmy, no! God, look at yourself and think about what you did. He waited so long and then he just shot it too early. Alright, let's get a Fletter Blade. Was Stitch on Ash on the Justice? Dude, Stitch did go crazy. I don't know if it was one of the best performances. It was definitely one of his career best performances, but yeah. I know what you mean. Only Jimmy can kill Jimmy. It's definitely not how that works, but true. Did Jimmy die to reflect? Yes. Alright, here we go, Fletter. Show me what you got. Okay, okay. Wait, oh damn, that was a nice sleep by far away. That was not bad though. get some Fleta pop, because you know we've been, I think everyone's been pretty critical of Fleta. I think it's obviously because we're holding him to the 2020 standard that he once was. But yeah, Tracer Genji has just not been that good. I'm curious to see if they are gonna go towards Who Are You Genji, if that's sort of what the writing on the wall of the meta is gonna be. Why Fleta Genji? I don't think they wanted him to be Genji off the bat. I think he was playing Tracer to begin with. What about Flex DPS, NA or APAC? That's a hard one. I think the best of the best are in the West, but I think the mean average in the East. Because we have proper Peli Kevster in the West, which are insane. But I think in the East, the average of like, you know, you got fucking Prophet, Choice of One, Alpha Yi, Zest, like those kind of guys. Like, I think that's sort of what I'm talking about. Leave Prophet. But I don't think Leave has been as impressive this season. Maybe it's just because the Chengdu Hunters have been especially bad. Even Prophet, like, I don't think Leave and Prophet have had the same level of performances as Pelican, Proper, and Kevster have. Leave is forced on hit scan, yeah, and that's probably one of the big reasons of like why I have that thought, right?
Into the ass.
Is this where we pray to our Lord and Savior?
Yes,
Jimmy?
you're in the right place. I think better Tracer on NA this year, and I think that's sort of what I'm talking about as well. Like when we talk about flex DPS players, most of them have been on Tracer this season. So I'm not really thinking about just Genji. I'm more talking about like the role that it served this season. Thank you for the $3, Jimmy Lover. $3 to pray to Jimmy. Jimmy. Stalker as well, yeah, Stalker's been good. Genji's in the East, yeah, I think that's a good shout. Oh, I thought he shot himself. There was lip there as well. I thought he killed himself again. This has been a good hold by Shanghai. I think this Sojin Winston comp was a better hit. Oh my god, Flutter almost murdered that guy. I'll show someone's not gonna make it. 1-1. Support's better in the West? Oh, supports are hard. I actually think so, yes. I actually think that East supports are actually weaker. Actually, I'm like very confident in that one. I think the supports in the West are much better than the supports in the East. Like, I've never been in love with like, I was never in love with the creative Vindame. Like, I like Vindame, but I was never sold on creative like with that. I just don't think they've been as dominant. I think the Spark backline has been very like hot or cold. I don't think the Philly Fusion backline's that good. Shanghai has Izayaki, Lee Jae-gon, which have been solid, but I think they've actually been kind of pigeonholed with Lee Jae-gon a little bit from time, and I just don't like any time I've watched Bebe come into the lineup. Vindame Iris is support. They've been playing really well this stage for sure. But then you have like in the West, you got some crazy backlines. You know, you got Shu, Funny Astro, Skewed. Then you got fucking Chio, who's been very impressive to me this season. Fielder. Then you got Finn Violet. Blazing Hot Take redeemed. All right, here we go. You could sub out any one player on any team and they won't get better or worse. Proper doesn't look good if he is on Eternal, and Wob Mouth will look much better if they're on the Shock. It's all about coaching and team synergy. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do, okay? Before we start talking about anything, okay? I want you to go watch some proper Tracer Pov, okay? Just real quick. Just look at how fluid, how smart, and how easy he makes it look. And then, after that, I'm going to go tell you to look at some Wob and Mouthful play. Don't look at the scores, don't look at the scoreboards, and just tell me the difference between the things that you are watching. Because it is fucking a chasm between those players, right? And that's not even a shot at Mouthful or Wob. That's just how good Proper is at that hero. Yes, I see your point that you are coming in with. And I think that is a fair point and I'm actually a big speaker to this. This is why I put value into Proper and Leave last season of the MVP of how good you are is very relative to the players that you have around you. And I think it is very hard to determine how good someone is when they're playing on a really good team. And that's been something, you know, I've talked about a bunch in the past. But you can't compare those two examples aren't great. I think it would be interesting to see Proper play on a different team, like a mid-table team, but yeah. It's a team-based game. Sure, Proper fucks, but he doesn't fuck as hard as the whole team is dead. But that's sort of like my counterpoint to you, Ramble, is go watch the playoffs of the most recent. Go watch the upper bracket final of the Summer Showdown, where the Shock played the Dallas Fuel. Wait, no, where he played the Gladiators. Sorry. Wait, am I thinking mid-season? Where am I? Which game am I thinking here? It would have been mid-season. Shock versus the Gladiators, mid-season madness, upper bracket finals. Fucking Proper's team and the San Francisco Shock blew. They were not good. And then go look at Proper's stats in that match and then tell me how Proper is so dominant when his team was playing so bad. Proper destroyed Kevster in a losing game. Then we start to bring up the arguments of, well, how many resources are they putting into, Proper? Is he being enabled to be this dominant player? It's hard to really have that answer unless you go and watch a lot of Shock VODs. I don't have the answer to that. I think it's an interesting talking point, but yeah. Hate how people are fucking dumpster on players like Wub when he's been harder than anyone else. Yeah, like Wub, like as I said, you shouldn't hate on Wub that much. Has he been a great player this season? No, but he is on a very poor team with very little time to get practice and that kind of stuff. And he's a great player. I hope he doesn't lose his opportunity in the Overwatch League going into next year, but I'm worried he might. Because people just aren't going to take a chance on Wub after such a poor season. And this happened to a lot of players where they sign to a bad team in the middle of a season and then just never get brought back because of how bad their performance was on that team, when it's really not a true indication of how good of a player they are. He talks about struggling with mental health. Dude, think about how much hate that dude is getting. Regardless of the stress of having to play in the Overwatch League and that kind of stuff and losing, then you put on top of that the amount of hate that he's getting from the community. It's hard, man. I feel for him. I really do. Player's not really doing a lot here.
Much better. Keep the payload moving.
Wob had 0 blade final blows with 6 blades and 2 maps, died with everyone. Yeah, but also like his team probably isn't diving as successfully. His team probably isn't supporting him the same way the other teams do. Like, yeah, as I said, you can't defend the numbers. The numbers are bad. Wow, it's just turbo fed. Flutter's really not doing a lot on this Tracer right now. It's no surprise they were not that good, and that's it, right? Like, I think most people understand that and keep an eye on that. Like, but yeah, I think there's a lot of fans that just like knee-jerk love to like blame a single person. It's easy to do. Oh god, they nanoed lip again. In the grab. Piggy, no! That wasn't great. How was Paris so bad this year after they were pretty good last year, considering they were pretty much the same team until they fell apart? Well, that's the question, right? But you need to look at the moment that things had changed. So they were a fully European team that ended up deciding that they were, instead of playing from Europe in their homes, they then moved to North America. They got rid of their European head coach that all of them liked. They signed a Korean head coach in JMac. JMac then signed Glister, a hit scan player who barely played any of the matches. That is one of the reasons that Wub was forced to come into the team. They decided to randomly drop Naga with everything that's going on. A lot of the issues that go on with the Paris Eternal have nothing to do with the team or the players. It comes down to the management of this organization. But people don't talk about that because it's something that you don't see. But yeah. J-Mac was on the 2021 Paris Eternal. Yeah, but he's now the head coach and they removed their previous head coach, right? Who's actually streaming under the Overwatch 2 tag? Yeah, they removed the Overwatch 1 tag, so you can't actually stream under the Overwatch 2 tag Overwatch 1 tag anymore. Who's the previous head coach? Get amazed. Same problem as Boston, but Boston don't get as much hate. Well, Boston have been successful. Like, Boston have won games. But also, those are very different situations. Boston has funding, and they have good players, and they are signing new players. They are signing good teams. They have, they have good facilities and stuff like that. This had a very weak schedule, like half their wins for Vancouver thing. Yeah, like they were doing fine. Like, all right, fled again, G round 2. Paris didn't even have a facility when they flew to NA. Yeah, it's just hard to speak to those things because we don't really have the truth about it all. Fate is just deep. Okay, he got far away. That was nice. He pretty much did that what it felt like alone. Like that was really well played by Fate. I thought that was just a turbo feed, but he got him. Oh, choice one down. If I remember correctly, Get Amazed said that J-Mac didn't want to be head coach to begin with. He was kind of forced in that position. Yeah, I can't really, I haven't heard that before, but yeah. It just seemed like a weird decision all around. Paris should get Laurie, that'll fix him. Oh my god. Yeah, he'll turn them around like he turned the Boston Uprising around. Piggy looks a lot more comfortable on this team than Houston. I'm glad he's not another chance. All right, well, here's my counterpoint to that. Piggy has only played Zarya for this team. And one of the big issues that Piggy had on the Houston Outlaws is that he was being forced to play heroes that he is not as comfortable on. Custa for Paris? Hell no, I'm not becoming a head coach. That job sounds like it sucks. People get fucking fired and dropped and the organizations decide that they don't want to be good anymore, like at the drop of a hat. Not a coach, a player? Oh, dude, I am a mega washed. It's not even close. We'll see. Maybe in Overwatch 2 I'll be great again, but I don't want to be a player again. Good grab. Oh, Lip? No way Lip does this. Yeah, no. That's what Shroud said too. Yeah, me and Shroud are pretty much the same level of skill. No, I don't think I'd ever want to be a player again. It's too much time. It's too much time. It's too consuming. It literally consumes your life. I don't want to be there again. My dream coaching team: Parjon, Laurie, KDG, 815 assistant, Changoon GM. Oh man, the promised land. Who'll be on Plat Chat tomorrow? I'm not sure actually. Scott Custa better healing stats than Jonak. I'm just saying. Dude, I saw those stats go up and I knew it was me. As soon as I saw those numbers, I was like, I was slightly below average in that season when I played, because I played it for Dallas Fuel in that thing and I was not very good on Zenyatta in that season. I don't know. I think I like lost all confidence in my Zenyatta and my flex support play when I joined Dallas. It was like, I could like feel myself losing confidence, and like I just got so much worse than I once was. Obviously I'm playing against better competition, but it's just like, you know, when you get in that mindset of you're just like, all of a sudden you can feel yourself making mistakes and like doing things wrong, and I just couldn't get out of that funk, man. You're on our own point. Yeah, obviously the team was struggling, but you know, you got to look inward sometimes. Like it's not fair to just blame your team all the time. Like I was definitely not the solution to the problem, right? I think I did a lot of good things on that Dallas team, but I think playing Zenyatta was not one of them. You got to be realistic with yourself. I remember when I spoke to Goomba back in the day, and I asked why he swapped from flex up to main spot, and he basically said he could no longer compete with top flex players. Roll is fucking hard, and that's like that was one of the crises that I had when I was making that transition. So when I first joined Dallas, Kai was like, "Can you learn to play Lucio so you can play main sport?" Because I knew how to play Mercy, because flex sports used to play Mercy, and I was like, "Yeah, I can do it." And I did learn Lucio, like at least the core fundamentals of Lucio. But I had that same issue of like, I got to the league and all of a sudden there was some fucking crazy flex supports in the league, you know, Jonak, Padosin and all that kind of stuff. It was just hard to hang. Like I've never been a good mechanical player. Another issue I had is, well, and I'm sure Goomba could speak to this as well, is that flex support is a hard role to call from. Like because you have to be so focused on yourself. So that's one of the big reasons I moved to main support as well, is that I could focus more on the team and less on myself. Flex sports just keep getting better and better. Well, it's like players that had the caliber and the skill to be able to play DPS and can play DPS just started taking the role, and it's like it's hard to compete with that, right? Like, as I said, I've never been a mechanically brilliant player. Like, my mechanics are solid, and I think it was really good when I was on like Fnatic in 2016, 2017, at least in the West. But everything catches up to you eventually, man. Do you think if you didn't get benched in 2019, you would have had more drive? Maybe. I think getting benched in 2019 and sort of like losing my control to play the game completely out of my own hands and out of my control, I think sort of gave me a reality check of how easy it is to go from where I was to have nothing in a while. And I think that's one of the reasons I started thinking about doing desk and doing talent and stuff like that, of like, well, what's my future look like then? Let's start preparing for that. Like, I've talked about this before, but I knew I was going to retire halfway through 2019. So I came back after that break, and then in second stage, we started turning it around. And honestly, we did turn that season around pretty successfully. But I was already making moves to retire and go into talent halfway through 2019. Oh my God, he almost got choice of one. Oh my God, that was tragic. You have a hobby apart from Overwatch stuff? Yeah, I do lots of different stuff. And that's sort of one of the things, the reason I want to be the player. I love what I do. Like, I love my life. Did you ask the Valiant to make CNN? No, that was originally their idea. They're trying to put people in content in the same way that they did Gamer Snacks. So we ended up pitching it, and you know, obviously CNN became a really fun thing over time. Like, I love doing CNN. That was really fun. You have a life outside of Overwatch? It's crazy. That's why I wouldn't become a player again, because you lose that. What then? Oh, I don't know. I do a lot of stuff with my my partner. Like we like to do a lot of traveling. Then I play D&D on the side with a group, which I fucking love. I still play a lot of video games with friends. And then it's just work and stuff like that. I don't have like a crazy hobby of like, I like to go sailing or rock climbing, but I have a lot of things that I do in my life, which I love. Got a lot of friends, got a lot of things to do. Ooh! Jimmy to the moon! You collect model trains, I do not. You gotta watch Flutterpop trying to kill Farway here. Why play Reaper here? Zarya Reaper is generally pretty good because you TP the Reaper in and then you bubble him so then you can kill people. I don't know if Jimmy's been having that much success with it so far. Here's my thing. I don't like playing Reaper Genji because I feel like both people want those resources and you want to put both of those. I think if you're going to play the Genji, then you should play like a hit scan, or if you're going to play the Reaper, you can play like a hit scan with that, or even a Tracer. I feel like you have two heroes that require too many resources right now. Do you think the game is going to revive? It'll definitely revive. The question is how much is Overwatch 2 going to revive? Will it be incredibly successful as a casual game? Will that then transition into successful professional play and inherently the success of the Overwatch League? I don't think anyone has the answer to that. Like, genuinely, I don't think. I think the Overwatch 2 game is good. I think the content plan is good, and I think it should be good, but there is a very negative public sentiment around Overwatch. Okay, Blade, choice of one. Oh, yeah. That was a good nano. Stop the dash reset. And then, like, that's this is a prime example of what I was just talking about, by the way. I'll get back to that conversation. Is they bubble Jimmy in, but then choice of one gets the nano, but then neither of them get enough resources to accomplish anything. So they, instead of just like putting all their resources in one person, it feels like they're splitting them up. So it feels like neither of them was successful because of that. Obviously, great nano by Izayaki, and that could have changed everything, but yeah. But yeah, so my point is, like, the Overwatch has a very negative public sentiment, and that's what needs to be broken. Like, we need to get back to the point that when people talk about Overwatch, they don't laugh as their first response in, like, the general sense. Obviously, Overwatch has a lot of people that love it and play it, but it needs to just do well in the public eye. And will it do that? I have no idea, and I don't think anyone does. So, Fate Primal, Xenius beat. Jimmy goes over to the Ashe. I like that. I think I would prefer the Sojourn. Oh, goodbye. Does it make an anime series? I think it is very likely that they will make an anime series at least some point. And I would assume the PvE is going to have a ridiculous amount of, like, the PvE is probably going to be an anime series that you can play, right? That's my realistic expectations of what it's going to be. So I think a lot of the future success, obviously the PvP needs to be good, and that's sort of what I'm talking about. But if Overwatch 2, if the PvE is successful, it'll lead into that as well. And it comes down to how many resources they put into it and how good it can be. There's no reason that Overwatch can't make PvE great, and then the anime series, they can make an anime series because they'll have all the tools to do that. They will have money because of a really good free-to-play live service game system. PvE will make a bunch of money. Like, there's a path forward in which Overwatch could be crazy successful and lucrative. But hey, they've already fumbled Overwatch 1. It's hard to really know if they're going to fumble it again. Fletter's not been doing as good in Overwatch 2 because he is more of a supportive DPS that collects final blows on half HP targets than a hard carry that wins 1v1 and gets solo kills, which are much more important in Overwatch 2. Yeah, I can see that. Like, I think that of a reason. I also just don't think, I think Fletter's mechanics just aren't as good as the other flex DPS players we talk about, right? Like, his Tracer isn't as good. His Genji is definitely nowhere near as good as the other flex DPS, and we have a very high standard for him. So I think he's just not living up to what we expect from him, and the quality of players just keeps increasing, right? If Edge Runners was able to revive Cyberpunk, then anything is possible. Anything is possible, right? I think a lot of the future of Overwatch 2 comes down to how successful the PvE is and how rapidly they grow off of that, right? And anyone who says they know what's going to happen for sure is just off the goop, you know? There's a lot of doomers. I'm definitely on the more hopium kind of spectrum, but we'll see. Fate goes down. This is a map that I think Winston is just not going to work. And I think this is a problem that the Shanghai Dragons are having, is that, like, Route 66, the Winston comp is pretty good, right? Like, I think you can work, you can choose your engages, you can just keep people in choke. Same thing with King's Row. But they lost control and they lose New Queen Street because I just don't think Winston is anywhere near as good as just being able to play Zarya. If Overwatch 2 fails, we have Gundam. Well, okay, here's the thing. People are like, I remember everyone hyping up Gundam of like, Gundam's just Overwatch, but it's cooler, right? It's like, Gundam's like super lit. It's the gameplay and the mechanics are way better. All that kind of stuff. They might overtake Overwatch 2. This game came out like 5 days ago. You can't, people don't, like, there is such a small percentage of people that care about just how the core mechanics are of a game. Like, that's not how you make a successful game, like, by making it hyper competitive. And, like, it runs really well, but the graphics are ass. Like, people just don't care. Like, and it's hard to gain a big audience. Gundam is one of those games that people hyped up, people are things, but it has all the writing on the walls to be another one of those games that people play for, like, 2 weeks, and then no one plays it again. It's a cool concept, but yeah, it's just... I thought that'd be Valorant. I was surprised it lasted long. Well, so the difference between Gundam and Valorant is Riot runs Valorant. Okay, so they have an endless check of things that they can promote and also create content. One of the big issues that Gundam, I think, is going to have as well is that they're just not going to be able to release content. Riot can run these cool cinematics. They built this cool world. They have all these promotions. They have that kind of stuff. Small indie companies just can't compete with that. And I think that's a big issue that's happening in the video game industry as a whole, especially for multiplayer games, that if you're not a big game studio, it's almost impossible to release a game that it can be competitive in this market. Spellbreak tried to run a live service. Dude, I loved Spellbreak. Spellbreak was such a fun game. It just couldn't keep up, and it just couldn't keep its player base there, right? Like, it's just so difficult. Splitgate was another one where people were like, oh, this game's so cool, it's like Quake, but you can go through portals, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but oh shit, nice sleep by Izzy. The reason I know for cold hard concrete fact that Gundam won't make it long term, especially compared to Overwatch, is because it's too challenging to make Gundam Rule 34 content work, and that shit carries the Overwatch franchise so fucking hard. There, I said it, you all know it's true. You're not wrong. The Rule 34 content is a big part. Okay, I think it's overhyped. Of like, obviously, it's a big thing in Overwatch. Of like for people who don't know what Rule 34 is essentially the porn content or porn corner of the world for Overwatch. It's a big market, but I think it's more about the characters, right? I think the thing that Overwatch did better than any game, and I still believe to this day has done better than any game, is make characters that people attach to, that people like, the cinematics, everything, all that kind of stuff is the thing that drives it home. Gundam doesn't have any of that. A lot of these games don't have that. And like Valorant's trying to do that. It's just not doing it as well as Overwatch, right? And that's one thing that like Overwatch has really struggled with over the last 3 years is they just haven't released a cinematic. You know, that's a big reason of why people are playing. They haven't released characters that people love, right? They've just released shitty characters. They can get back to that world, and Kiriko is a good step in the right direction. Junker Queen's a great step in the right direction. If they can keep doing that, it'll be good. You saying you wouldn't wank off to Gundam? I don't know. Maybe Liz would. You know, she but it's not for me. It's not for me. I'm not really a big robot kind of guy. So Gundam fans will play Gundam, but it won't be the support live service. Yo, he's in the Max and Genji. Bastion Rule 34. Oh, okay. Guys, you guys are saying this as if you're the things. Don't go to the internet if you don't want to see those kind of things. But I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, that shit exists. Didn't the official Overwatch retweet Bastion Rule 34? What? No, I haven't heard that. This VOD review has gone places. I hope you guys aren't here. If you're here on YouTube and you're here for the gameplay, I'm sorry. This was one of those reviews that just sort of went in a different direction. I'm just excited for Overwatch to release next week. Is this YouTube safe? If I get demonetized, I get demonetized. They did. They liked it. They didn't retweet it though. Oh, okay. That's safe then. I derailed this YouTube video on purpose, dude. Avril's praying on my downfall. Honestly, I think people prefer these kind of VOD reviews for the most part, which is the sad reality. His aim looks so shaky. He is definitely an off-tank player. How's it going, choice one? Ooh! I'm now removing my eye sockets. The kind of effort people put into making Rule 34 content, if they put that same effort elsewhere, we would have already cured cancer. Yeah, but then think about it. Then we wouldn't have porn on the internet. And, you know, what's the point of having the internet at that point? You know, come on, Avril. We gotta think bigger picture here. Oh, God. Yeah, there's no way I make money off of this video. I'm also gonna say Guangzhou Charger are unreasonably good at New Queen Street. I think this is a map that is 100% going to be a Reaper Zarya map. Like, I think everyone's gonna play. And like, I think Control is a Reaper Zarya. I think you play Reaper Zarya on push and control, but you need to be able to play like a Diva double flex comp on like other map types. That's what I have envisioned the meta going. I definitely think there's 100% merit on the Zarya comp, and I think it will beat any of, especially Winston. I'm just not in love with the way that Shanghai are playing around this Winston. I think they're dying on this hill that doesn't need to die on.
Enemy team is pushing forward.
Piggy has some goofy grabs. Well, let's see this one. Apparently, the Overwatch porn Reddit has 570k followers. It actually does, and I have a story of why I know it has over 500k followers, and it's at that point. Puckett, when he was there, he wanted to go check out the Reddit, and he typed Overwatch in Reddit, and it's the third one, and it has over 500k subs. He was like, guys, I typed in Overwatch on Reddit, and the third one is Overwatch porn. I'm like, yeah, that's the only thing keeping the lights on. Alright, we believe you. Puckett definitely a member. It was good to have Puckett back. Yeah, it was great working with Puckett. I regrettably took a look. It's a lot of Diva content. Well, there is an intentional reason why after the, like, do you guys remember when they first released Overwatch? She was incredibly young, and then they ended up having to, like, make an official statement and release saying that she is now 18 because they realized they couldn't stop it. So they were like, actually, we misspoke. She's 18. It was like, okay, well, that doesn't make it any better, but here we are. It was like, okay. And that is the good and the bad part of Rule 34. Still gross, and that's the problem. You can't control the internet. Yeah, I think she was 16 when they announced it. Yeah. Have you ever looked to see if there's any Rule 34 of you? I'm no. If there is, I'm not going to that corner of the internet. Yeah, that I'm good. I'm chilling. Okay, there are some things, some boxes that should remain unopened, and corners of the internet that you should never look at. There was the Jake fanfic. Do you guys? I'm gonna bring up the story. Do you guys, if you missed this, I don't know if there's still a video of it. Have you guys seen the video of me and Sideshow sitting on a couch reading the Jake fanfic while Jake was on the couch next to us? Me and Sideshow were incredibly drunk, and it was bad. It was bad. There's no patch today. It is tomorrow, as far as I'm aware. I've never seen someone look more uncomfortable than Jake, and I feel bad for him because I also would have been uncomfortable, but I just did not get that social cue because, as I said, I wasn't in the great mindset. Fate Primal? Fate Primals have been kind of hard to get value from. I guess he doesn't really have anyone to dive with. Beat Blade. Alright, who's ready for it? Do you want it? Give it to me after the VOD review. This is not a in the VOD review kind of thing.
Victory.
It's so bad. In their defense, Choicer 1 was about to kill everyone. Choicer 1 was about to kill everyone, and they were probably going to lose that fight, but it still doesn't feel any better. God, all these gaming articles really helping the Doomers out there with all heroes locked behind 100 games. Doomers are gonna doom, you know? Like, literally, if you are a media outlet, you recognize that you are going to get more clicks by saying negative things about Overwatch than you are about positive things about Overwatch. I was talking about it today when I was browsing as I started my stream. Some dude made a comment of, it was like, I really wish that they would have a way to unlock the new heroes, like Apex does. And someone was like, well, you realize you can just unlock it through the free battle pass. They're like, oh really? No one's ever told me that. And I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. Can I just say fuck PC gaming? Yeah, like they're literally just doing things that are gonna get clicked, even if it isn't like using logic or even just like the baits, right? There's people are just gonna be negative about it. Just tune it out. Overwatch 2 in 7 days. Play it if you want to, don't play it if you don't want to. So we're finally gonna get some Lip Sombra. Lip Sombra had a ridiculously high death count, so let's see what happened here. Oh, he got rolled. Well, there's one. Also, Izayaki on Moira is like, I don't understand what the logic is to play the Moira. Like, why are they playing the Moira? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Just play Ana. I really don't get it. And then Lip just goes Sojourn off the bat. Phasmo got a huge update? Oh, of course. We're going into Halloween. Shock lost like that too. Yeah, Shock also tried to play a Moira comp, and I just do not like the Moira. I don't know if there's something that I don't see with it, but it doesn't seem to make any sense. Like, why would you not just play Ana? New maps, custom just weird. Nice. I hope they changed like the UI a little bit. It felt a little clunky, but we'll see. If Junkenstein this year is mostly the same, that'd be a big disappointment. Didn't they already talk about that? It's like they're doing Junkenstein, but it's like a rework Junkenstein. So. Junkenstein's wife, yeah. So I don't know. I can't really speak to that stuff. I don't think that stuff's interesting. I don't play Junkenstein. B Blade, I like the turn. There's a counter B. Oh, nice play by Choi. Is Fade a Primal? Not yet. He's gonna get it though. Dash. Ooh! If he had dashed earlier, he probably would have got that kill. Oh, Fade's dead. Oh. Charger doing a good job of... Oh. Xerneas, I'll get in your grab, Piggy, don't worry. Alright, Piggy, not the greatest grab. But they're still holding the point. Oh, Jimmy getting lip is a big kill. Oh, Fleta gets slept. Oh, that was a big sleep. Honestly, big plays by Farway. Hot take, Choi better than Hydron? I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, you can make arguments otherwise, but I don't think that's a hot take at all. Peace out, it's your boy Sour.
5.
Should the Dragons enforce that so much? Probably not. The Jimmy Sombra? Alright, let's see this. Let's see if Jimmy clears lip. Oh, he didn't recall the... Oh, Fleta should have been able to blink or recall that hack. That was pretty poor.
Translocator set.
Seems weird to compare the two since Hydra on his hit scan and Choi's flex. Yeah, I guess that's true as well. I think it's more like looking at the traces probably. Which were you hoping gets up there? Oh no, I'm talking about Phasmophobia. It was completely off the group. Let's go, Jimbo. How did that work? He literally just ran into the brig. Oh wow, nice sleep. Yo, we got the Pigston here as well. Do you think Charles will try and grow this roster heading into next year or change things up? I think they'll probably try and grow it. It's the best look that they have in a while.
Don't fret. I see you.
Wait, when did Jimmy go to the charge? Jimmy, Xerneas, and Aprita all went to the charge in the most recent break. Power Mayhem this season? They've actually done pretty well with the roster that they have. They finished 4th in the most recent tournament. Good EMP. All good nano. Oh no, Piggy. I thought he was going to jump in the pit. Say another tank and maybe finding a more consistent hit scan would be a massive for the charge. How dare you talk about Jimmy like that? But I agree, yes.
In my world, there are no secrets. Always plan an exit.
Wait, what happened to Fleta? Why couldn't Fleta lip translocate? Wait, what the fuck? Oh, it got broken? Oh, it got broken by Fleta. Choice one found his translocator. That was nice. Oh, Shanghai got the flip there. That's an important flip by Shanghai. Jimmy Sombra kind of nasty. It's actually been pretty good. Is he gonna switch Moira for the last round? Wait, you just no. Why follow Izzyaki? Why are you going for Lee Gon? I don't understand that. Oh, what the fuck? EMP. Oh, he should have EMP'd Fate. Oh, he doesn't have EMP. Why did I think he had EMP? I think it's because Fate had Primal. Never mind. False alarm. They're both translocated. That's a Spider-Man meme, yeah. Based on the stats, yeah, Lips deaths were crazy, actually. Jimmy, you don't have to go back every time you... Jimmy takes like 3 damage. He's like, time to leave. What? Jimmy. What are we doing? Oh, Izzyaki didn't get away from it. Oh, good dive. Not gonna go for the mega. All right. Oh my god. Oh my god, Jimmy. We're good. Never worried. I'm nervous watching Jimmy play right now. He's just not doing anything, unfortunately. He's just getting stuck here. Oh, hey, Legion. What's up, buddy? Yo! Guangzhou charge! Taking down the Shanghai Dragons. A map 5 banger. Honestly, pretty good series. Pretty good series. As I said, I think one of the big issues with the Dragons right now is they're just heavily leaning on the Fate Winston. I think especially against Sombra. And on certain maps, it just doesn't work. I think it's just too hard to get consistent value from it. Great when there's high grounds, great when you can sort of choose your engages, but on maps that you can't, it's just not that good. So I think Dragons should hopefully be able to put in some void at certain times, but we'll see. We'll see. Big ups to the Charge. They are looking very much like the Dallas Fuel with their Xayah sort of Genji setup that they're planning on playing. But hope you guys enjoyed it. We got a little off the goop in the middle there. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.